The singular lesson for the Minnesota Vikings from Super Bowl 59 should really just be a double down lesson on what they experienced themselves the final two games of the season, which is fortify the offensive line and defensive line. Make a concerted effort to improve the line of scrimmage, as this video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. There are two approaches that you can have to win a Super Bowl in this day and age of football. And that is, number one, having a tier one star quarterback. Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Matthew Stafford, they have won 7 out of the last 10 Super Bowls. The second option is you have a lower tier starting quarterback, but you dominate the line of scrimmage. And that represents 3 out of the last 10 Super Bowl winners. 2015, the Denver Broncos, yes, their starting quarterback was Peyton Manning, but that Peyton Manning at the end of his career was a game-managing quarterback. It was their front seven in that Super Bowl against the Panthers that had MVP quarterback Cam Newton fighting for his life. The 2017 Philadelphia Eagles, their offensive line, the best in football, allowed Nick Foles and the run game to dominate. Last night, Super Bowl 59. Philly's offensive line and defensive line shut down the line of scrimmage. The Chiefs, no doubt, they had the better quarterback. That's a tier one quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. In fact, he is the NFL's QB1. They had the better quarterback, but Philly was able to get to that quarterback at the same time, protecting their own quarterback. Patrick Mahomes, he was sacked 6 times, hit 11 times. Jalen Hurts, sacked just twice, hit 3 times. Eagles being 2 of 3 Super Bowl winners the last 10 years by way of having the lesser quarterback is no fluke. It's not a coincidence. They've done it twice now with 2 different rosters, 2 different quarterbacks, 2 different head coaches. The GM, Howie Roseman, who is probably the best GM in football, was the one constant that his philosophy never wavered. We are going to build up the trenches as much as possible. Even if we have bona fide starters, we're going to add on top of our depth that you can never have too many players on the offensive line and the defensive line as well. And then not only that, but also attacking what it is that the team needs. In 2023, this is one of the worst defenses in the league. We need to boost up that side of the ball. What are we going to do? We're going to bring in Vic Fangio, and we are going to draft, because we already have enough players on the defensive line. We're going to draft Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell. And now they're the best defense in football. Build up the trenches and identify the weaknesses on our team and make an aggressive effort to make improvements on those weaknesses. The way that this team, the Minnesota Vikings, how they have been constructed, they're obviously not going to be able to challenge as it stands right now if they keep the same philosophy that they've been having of challenging Philadelphia or challenging the Rams or the Lions. They're not going to really be able to challenge anyone in the NFC playoffs unless they make a drastic shift. Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, KOC, I know you say you want to win. KOC says that we need to shore up the interior offensive line, and that's great. What are you going to do about it? You don't need to tell us, the fans. We've been telling this team across 2 different regimes the last 10 plus years that you need to bolster up the interior offensive line and defensive line. What are you going to do about it? And let's be real here. We've allowed for far too long, with the consistent lack of effort by this team to improve the trenches year after year after year. We've allowed for far too long these analytical geek squad members to justify those moves. C++ programming, Python programming. We've put together a formula to explain why Garrett Bradbury, after 6 years of being a certified bum, going into year 7, will finally get over the hump and will put this team in a position to contend for a title. That is nasty work. It is time to finally accept the fact that you cannot outsmart your opponents with bad players, that you cannot advance analytics / PFF your way to Lombardi trophies. It's time to stop, excuse my language, pussyfooting around with this roster. It is time that the Vikings look themselves in the mirror and give themselves a gut check. New customers at BetUS Sportsbook and Casino get a 150% bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000. Promo code YouTube150. And for this regime specifically, the last 3 years, Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah and Kevin O'Connell, they have gotten better. Or really, this is more of Kwesi's job with, I guess, consulting with KOC, hashtag collaboration. Kwesi has really gotten better with the roster management as of late compared to his first year. But it's really important just to highlight the missed opportunities. So the 2022 draft in the first round, we know they took Lewis Cine, but in making that trade and taking Lewis Cine, they passed up on the following players on the interior offensive line: Tyler Smith and Tyler Linderbaum. Interior defensive linemen, they missed out on. Same deal, trading down in the first round, taking Lewis Cine. Interior defensive lineman, Jordan Davis, that is Super Bowl defensive tackle. Jordan Davis, last night, Super Bowl 59, he had a sack. Good for him. The second D lineman, Devontae Wyatt. In the second round of that same draft, 2022, the Vikings selected Andrew Booth Jr. as well as Ed Ingram. In doing that, they passed on Super Bowl winning center Cam Jurgens of the Philadelphia Eagles. So that's 2 Super Bowl winners that they passed on that Howie Roseman looked at and said, we need those guys to be successful. That following offseason, free agency 2023, we're trying to improve the trenches. Okay, did not make any sort of effort to go after on the interior offensive line market Isaac Seumalo from the Eagles, who ended up signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers, or Connor McGovern, not the Jets Connor McGovern, Dallas Connor McGovern, who ended up signing with the Buffalo Bills. They did, however, that same free agency, re-sign Garrett Bradbury. And then as far as the draft goes, I have no problem with the way they handled it, the Vikings front office. We're not going to sit here and talk about why the Vikings should not have drafted Jordan Addison. And then at the end of the third round, taking Mekhi Blackman. I think that was the best player available at that time. So we're good there. 2024, the free agency signings that they had last year, that was a hell of a good start. Blake Cashman, the edge rushers in AVG, and Jonathan Grenard. Then when you consider the draft, hopefully having your quarterback of the future, and I still have faith in Dallas Turner, that was a good start. But cut Garrett Bradbury, cut Ed Ingram, cut Blake Brandel, or I guess with Blake Brandel, I wouldn't be opposed to demoting him to the second unit, and don't bring back Dalton Reisner. It is time, once and for all, for the Minnesota Vikings to do a 180 approach on addressing the line of scrimmage through free agency and the draft. And in today's mock, we got a trade offer from the Washington Commanders. They are offering up picks 29 in the first, pick 61 in the second, 2 7th-round picks in this year's draft, pick 238 and 250, as well as a future 5th-round pick in exchange for pick 24. At pick 29, the Minnesota Vikings select Tyler Booker, interior offensive lineman from Alabama. In the second round, pick 61, Vikings select Caleb Johnson, running back from Iowa. So there's your starting running back in 2025. Pick 97, Tate Ratledge, interior offensive lineman from Georgia. Pick 140, Ty Robinson, D tackle from Nebraska. Pick 161, Jacob Parrish, cornerback from K-State. Then your 2 picks in the 7th round, pick 238, Taj Brooks, running back from Texas Tech. Especially in the event if you're not able to re-sign Aaron Jones on a vet minimum deal. I don't want it to be your RB1 and Ty Chandler, that's it. Whoever you take in, hypothetically speaking, this scenario at pick 61 in the second round. I want a deep running back room. So Caleb Johnson, Taj Brooks, and Ty Chandler, I'll take that moving forward in 2025. And then at pick 250, Jackson Slater, interior offensive lineman from Sacramento State. So in this mock draft, you go from having originally 4 picks to 7 picks in 2025, as well as a 2026 5th-round pick. Your thoughts in the comments section below. Thanks to the folks at BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. We'll see you next time.